Australian desert, a dry and desolate wasteland, hell on earth. In these parts, only the toughest survive. Heat and dehydration kill indiscriminately. And the wildlife is armed and dangerous. Out here, it's everyone for themselves. These are the case files of Australia's notorious desert killers. In this lineup of unusual suspects, the agenda is kill or be killed. While some offenders plead self-defence, others are guilty as charged. Notorious fiends that cheat, swindle and kill for a living. The Australian desert is a realm of cold-blooded killers. There are more reptiles in the Australian desert than anywhere else on Earth. Lizards and snakes have been vying for supremacy here for eons. A biological arms race that has given rise to a weapon of terrifying efficiency: venom. This barren landscape is home to some of the world's deadliest snakes. But there can only be one king: the mulga snake, otherwise known as the king brown. Measuring nearly 10 feet long, this large male is on the hunt. Out here, prey is scarce, so he does what he must to survive. Lording over his close relatives, Australia's largest venomous snake has developed a taste for reptilian flesh. He uses inside knowledge of his victims to gain an edge, such as knowing that reptiles need to bask in the sun to warm up. The mulga's flickering tongue has picked up a scent trail. He's locked onto a target and is relentless in his pursuit. Maintaining his focus, he's not distracted by the presence of nearby lizards. He's tracking a much more substantial meal. This is a western brown snake, one of the world's top 10 venomous snakes, and usually treated with healthy respect by most predators. But in addition to his own chemical weapons, the mulga also possesses chemical defences. Within his biological arsenal, he carries a genetic resistance to snake venom. A bite from even the deadliest of snakes has little effect. So the western brown poses no threat. Sensing the peril, it attempts to flee. In desperation, it tries to conceal itself within a nearby hole, but the mulga uses his size and strength to block the only exit to what now becomes a tomb. To ensure a quick and efficient kill, the venom output of the mulga is higher than any other snake on Earth. As he devours his 5-foot-long meal, each chewing action delivers yet another dose of deadly toxins. A killer of killers, The mulga snake is a snake's worst nightmare. The mulga may lord over even the deadliest of snakes within this barren realm. But the king brown is not the only monarch in these parts. An ancient reptilian rival stalks the desert plains, drooling over its victims before moving in for the kill. Meet Australia's largest and toughest lizard. Weighing in at around 33 pounds and measuring over 9 feet long, the perentie is the lizard king. A formidable apex predator that few animals dare to tangle with. This large male is a notorious desert stalker. And he's hungry. He's using his highly tuned senses to forage in the grass. His eyes are shaded from the sun and sensitive to the slightest of movements. Licking the air with his tongue, he tastes the faint chemical trace of prey. Nothing much escapes his attention. Most of the time, he makes do with small rodents. Out here in Australia's barren interior, potential meals are few and far between. So he's not above scavenging. But such a big, active hunter sometimes needs a more substantial meal. A perentie of his size will actively hunt wombats and even lone dingoes. Most reptiles wouldn't even dream of taking on a red kangaroo. But the perentie isn't most reptiles. He can do something other lizards can't. Perenties can run and breathe at the same time. He has a large breathing tube and strong neck muscles that act like bellows to keep him well oxygenated, even at high speed. The perentie is one of the fastest of all reptiles. He can maintain speeds of around 25 miles an hour for more than half a mile, making him a very efficient endurance hunter. Even so, a kangaroo is no easy target. His best chance is to launch a surprise attack. He focuses on the weakest and most vulnerable within the mob. This predator's festering mouth oozes more than drool. It's recently been discovered that the bite of the perentie is venomous. Anticoagulants contained within the venom induce a collapse in blood pressure, and dizziness soon subdues the victim. Selecting an unwary target, his approach is silent. But the desert community is always alert to stalkers. The chase is on, a contest of speed and agility. On the open plain, the kangaroo would be much faster. But while navigating the low desert scrub, it struggles to reach top speed. But ultimately, the perentie is outclassed. There's little shame in being outrun by this iconic Australian sprinter. But the perentie turns his attention to a very different challenge. He's crossed paths with the recently fed mulga snake. As one of the most venomous snakes on the planet, the mulga is a real threat to most reptiles. But the perentie stands his ground. The snake poses little threat to him. He's too big. And thanks to eons of coevolution, perenties have also developed a resistance to snake venom. So it's the mulga snake that finds itself in peril. And the perentie doesn't hesitate. It's a sizable meal that will provide this unscrupulous predator with enough energy to stalk his next victim. While some stalk, others cheat. Why waste valuable energy in chasing prey when gullible victims can be lured to their deaths? The desert is full of swindlers, but none is more crafty than the sly and ruthless death adder. His name says it all. Like the mulga, the death adder is among the world's deadliest snakes. But rather than pursue his meals at top speed across the desert as the perentie does, he sits and hides and waits for his meals to come to him. The soft desert colours of the death adder's 2-foot-long body blend in perfectly with his arid surroundings. Lying motionless, his disconcerting eyes scan the horizon for potential victims. This wandering skink has no idea he's there. When it comes to launching his lethal attack, surprise is everything. For a successful kill, He needs to entice the skink to within optimum striking distance. Ever the swindler, this crafty desert con artist unveils a secret weapon. Slightly flattened and darker in colour, the tip of his tail seems to have a life of its own. When the snake twitches it, it looks just like a tasty, wriggling grub. This cunning optical illusion creates an irresistible honey trap for a hungry skink. But the curious skink remains just out of range. So cold and calculating, the death adder slowly moves the lure closer to his head. His trap is now set. Mesmerized, the skink succumbs to temptation. It's the fastest strike of all Australian snakes. A lethal dose of fast-acting neurotoxins delivers a swift end, leaving this clinical desert con artist to quietly devour his home-delivered meal. The death adder is not the only master of disguise in the Australian desert. It's been said that the greatest trick that the devil ever performed was to convince others that he doesn't exist. The thorny devil is a prickly customer with a knack for blending in. Prowling the arid wasteland is a terror of the outback. A serial killer that lays waste to countless prey at every meal. This beast is the stuff of nightmares. At least that's how the ants of the outback perceive the thorny devil, otherwise known as Moloch horridus. Meet a true desert monster. He looms over the ants upon which he gorges. Yet he's only a modest 4 inches from head to tail. Rather than use up energy in the desert heat chasing after prey, he strategically positions himself along ant trails, letting his meal come to him. He devours thousands of ants in a single sitting, and as ants are present all year round, he doesn't go hungry. But he's not the only predator here. The desert is full of hunters much larger than him. To avoid predation, he must avoid detection. He blends in with his surroundings. A devilish trickster and master of disguise. With all the swagger of a punk rocker, He sways as he walks, mimicking the movement of wind-swept leaves, which helps to conceal his presence from aerial assailants. But sometimes the deceit of the devil lets him down. He has to defend himself. For this, he wears impressive spiky armour. He also has a fatty growth on the back of his neck that looks like his head, just enough to fool a predator and shield his real head. A cunning deception designed to buy him time. Eventually, even the most dogged of predators would surely realise that this meal presents more pain than gain. Deceit and deception, smoke and mirrors. Sometimes it's the things we can't see that frighten us the most. Under the dim light of a full moon, giant huntsman spiders prowl in the dark. And hungry ghost bats watch on from the shadows. There's very little shelter in the desert, so a cave is a precious sanctuary. It's a tempting refuge for some of the desert's creatures, but a hunting ground for others. A den of iniquity. One of the more terrifying residents, the cave huntsman spider. This spider is huge. It has a leg span of 6 inches. It doesn't build a web. It chases down prey. Insects, lizards, frogs, and even sometimes small mammals. It's one of the fastest spiders in the world. Without a web to detect prey, the hairs on its legs pick up vibrations in the air, and sharp vision helps to pinpoint a victim. A dunnart. These rodent-sized nocturnal marsupials have yet to leave their daytime retreat. The spider singles out a target, but the setting sun has stirred other terrors within the cave. Ghost bats awaken with murderous appetites. And they've also noticed the tasty morsels scampering across the cave floor. Also known as the false vampire bat, the ghost bat is named for its pale colour and thin wing membranes. A ghost in the night. It's the largest echolocating bat in Australia, with sharp teeth to rip and tear the flesh off its victims, which include birds, rodents, and other bats. Its big ears provide long-range hearing to find prey. Roosting in the roof of the cave, it quickly devours the dunnart, leaving little but fur and bones. In the desert, nothing goes to waste. Cheated out of a potential meal, the spider won't go hungry for long. It's identified another victim. Quickly subdued by the spider's venom, the unfortunate cricket is eaten alive. In these parts, hiding in the shadows is no safe bet. One way to deter unwanted attention is to just be disgusting. One repugnant reptile keeps predators at bay by smelling worse than death. The spiny-tailed gecko. Once it gets dark, a hunter of the night is ready to emerge from the branches. She's spent all day basking in the safety of the treetops. She only comes down to the ground to hunt. Spiny-tailed geckos can see perfectly well in the dark. Nocturnal geckos are unusual. They're one of the few creatures that can see colour at night. She can do this because she has special cells in her eyes, cones that respond to different wavelengths of light and are more than 350 times more sensitive than human colour vision. This sensitive colour vision is just right for hunting in the dark. But there are others who can also see at night. This 25-inch long creature might look like a snake, but it's actually a Burton's legless lizard. It's a predator. Its eyesight is good, but when hunting, it only reacts to movement. As long as the gecko keeps perfectly still, she won't be noticed. The gecko returns to the hunt. This giant centipede would be an ideal meal. But there's a problem. She's been seen by another predator. This time, it is a snake, a highly venomous one, the ringed brown snake. This snake doesn't rely as much on vision as scent, tasted by its flickering tongue. Keeping stock still won't save the gecko now, but her night vision is so sensitive that she can tell the difference between the snake and the legless lizard, even in the dark. So she employs another defense. She secretes a foul-smelling liquid from glands in her tail. The pungent odour completely overwhelms the snake's sense of smell. A powerful deterrent. Once the threat is gone, she settles for a quick beetle snack before retreating to the safety of her tree. While the spiny-tailed gecko finds refuge in the treetops, for others, the canopy harbours unseen dangers. With nocturnal predators lurking, crimes of passion play out amongst the branches. Under a full moon, the silence of the cool desert night is broken by the sounds of serenading insects looking for a mate. But not all of these insect songs are designed to find a partner. some have a more sinister tone. A spotted predatory katydid. Also known as bush crickets, some katydids are happy munching on leaves, but not this one. It looks like an alien from a sci-fi movie. It's covered in sharp spines and armed with equally sharp jaws. And it has long antennae that can sense the slightest movement in the dark. Every bit an alien predator. Its victims are cicadas. After dark, male cicadas call to females, who respond with a chirp, so the male can find its mate. Each species of cicada has its own song and answering call. The spotted predatory katydid has cracked the cicada code. It can mimic those enticing female chirps with a flick of its long wings and pulsating body. What's remarkable is that this complex deception seems to be hardwired into the katydid's DNA. Since it can mimic the songs of cicadas it's never heard before. This one's detected a likely victim. It answers the male cicada's mating call. A siren song that male cicadas find irresistible. But in these forests, answering the call of love can prove to be a fatal attraction. Drawn by instinct, the unwary victim walks towards mortal danger. And once it's close enough, the katydid uses its powerful back legs to pounce. Once ensnared, a killer bite is delivered to the throat. It's all over. An appetizing midnight snack. It's said that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But sometimes, no matter how good the example set by parents, the kids are naturally prone to antisocial behaviour. The young antlion is a natural-born killer. Among the monsters haunting the desert night, a juvenile delinquent terrorizes the microcosmic underworld. The antlion. It is the nymph phase of the lacewing. The decidedly more elegant adult feeds on pollen, nectar, and the odd aphid. But in its larval stage, the antlion is a menacing carnivore. This natural-born killer is armed to the teeth, literally. Its mandibles resemble sickle blades, and it's not afraid to use them. It preys on passers-by, building a trap, one of the most efficient traps in the animal kingdom. The antlion begins construction by crawling backwards, using its abdomen as a plough, shoveling up the sand. Then throws each little pile clear of the scene. He keeps moving round and round to make the pit deeper. About 3 inches across and 2 inches deep, until the slope is as steep as it can be without collapsing. A death trap, a masterpiece of devious engineering. Hiding just under the surface, it lies in wait for innocent passers-by. Concealed beneath the sand, the larva can sense faint ground vibrations. The spider wanders close, but not close enough. A foraging ant, moving closer. It stumbles into the hole. The antlion launches. But this lucky ant finds its footing and escapes a gruesome death. The predator doesn't have to wait long. Another ant tumbles into the trap, and this one can't get out. The sandy wall is unstable by design. The larva now throws sand at the ant to knock it off balance and creates an avalanche that delivers its victim to its waiting jaws. The antlion injects the ant with venom and enzymes before starting to suck the life out of the still struggling victim. It's as if the earth has opened up and swallowed the ant whole. The antlion's trap provides a ready-made grave. The Australian desert is full of pitfalls. While some assaults come from below, it pays to keep a watchful eye on the sky. Because out here, death can also rain from above. The wedge-tail eagle is an aerial assassin. Dry, desolate, hostile. Out here, resources are few and far between. Spanning thousands of square miles, the vast expanse of the Australian desert is a silent killer. But some species are well equipped to meet these extreme challenges. Australia's largest bird of prey, with a wingspan of nearly 10 feet, the wedge-tailed eagle. She's an apex predator, soaring high on the food chain. Thanks to her arsenal of deadly weapons. Her hooked beak is for tearing flesh, dead or alive. But it's her wickedly sharp, switchblade-like talons that do the real damage. A fierce hunter and fiercely loyal to her family. Wedge-tailed eagles mate for life. Like Bonnie and Clyde on the wing, this pair works together to provide food for their chicks. Effortlessly soaring upon desert thermals, she scours the searing landscape for prey. Wedge-tailed eagles possess incredible eyesight. Each eye has a bony ring that can be squeezed to elongate the eyeball, acting like a zoom lens, seeing prey up to 2 miles away. Even the largest of kangaroos need to be wary of an aerial assault. Movement amongst the boulders has caught her eye. Quick and nimble, rock wallabies are difficult moving targets. They navigate the rocky outcrops with all the agility of a mountain goat. The wallabies know they're being hunted and scramble. Their best chance of survival is to find cover. For those that don't, it's open season. Her lethal talons quickly dispatch the hapless prey, tearing flesh from bone. Her curved beak makes short work of the carcass. A kill of this size is enough to feed the entire family. The pair has 2 chicks, recently hatched and voraciously hungry. There's no rest for the adult eagles, as the kids constantly demand their pound of flesh. Creatures of the plains beware. These winged assailants have an insatiable appetite. Australian deserts harbour some of the world's most notorious killers. But there's one that stands out from the crowd. A hitman with a terrifying reputation. Its famed bite contains enough lethal toxins to commit mass murder. The inland taipan. Australian deserts are home to a disproportionate number of venomous reptiles, armed with chemical weapons that kill with horrifying efficiency. But of all the world's venomous snakes, the inland taipan is the supreme master. One drop of its venom would kill 250,000 mice in a matter of seconds, or 100 men in under an hour. But in order to feed, this 6-foot-long female must first locate a victim. Luckily, she's armed with more than venom. Tasting the air, her tongue picks up the slightest clue. Just a molecule of scent gives the prey away. there is a potential victim, and it's close. This cold-blooded killer prefers warm-blooded prey. Native rodents spend the daylight hours in the cool of their underground burrow. But just like the caves of the desert, burrows are no safe haven. The taipan's smooth, glossy scales allow for a silent approach. As she gets closer, her keen vision helps to pinpoint the source of the scent. If these agile rodents sense her presence, they will try to escape or lash out with sharp claws and teeth. A silent assassin. She uses the shadows to approach her chosen target, undetected. It's all over in the blink of an eye. Neurotoxins quickly paralyze the victim, while hemotoxins start to break down the rat from the inside. Chalking up yet another notch on her belt, this proficient killer won't need to eat again for several weeks. Which is good news for the other creatures of the desert. Forged by extremes, the predators of Australia's deserts are built tough. They cheat and steal, stalk and con, slash and maim. Deadly Australians that will do whatever it takes to survive in this arid wasteland. Australia, a tropical paradise. But these pristine waters conceal sinister undercurrents. The oceans surrounding this island continent are home to some of the deadliest creatures known to man. Marine assassins that strike from the shadows, or wield biological weapons that kill with terrifying efficiency. Curiously intriguing, exquisitely beautiful, and exceptionally lethal. These are the case files of Australia's notorious ocean killers. From otherworldly predators with a knockout punch, to flamboyant femme fatales, to the monsters of our deepest nightmares. In these waters, there is little more fearsome than the jaws of a great white shark. Perfectly adapted marine predators, sharks have prowled the oceans for more than 400 million years. Worldwide, there are around 400 species of shark, almost half of which can be found in the waters surrounding Australia. Monsters of the deep, the stuff of myth and legend. They are supreme killers. Over the last 50 years, there have been 53 fatal shark attacks in Australian waters. But usually, these so-called man-eaters prefer prey of a different flavour. Hammerhead sharks hunt stingrays. Tiger sharks attack and kill turtles and even other sharks. But there is a giant amongst their number with a taste for warm-blooded victims. It's the largest of all flesh-eating sharks. The great white, one of the most feared predators on Earth. But it is not human flesh that whets this monster's appetite. Inhabiting the colder coastline of southern Australia, fur seals make for tempting appetizers. While sea lions are the main course, the colonies here make up a significant part of the great white's diet. This alpha male sea lion watches over a group of females and their pups. On land, they appear cumbersome and clumsy. But once they enter the water, it quickly becomes apparent that they are in their element. Sea lions are fast, agile and elegant swimmers. Their streamlined bodies enable them to efficiently chase down prey species like crustaceans and cuttlefish. But the sea lions aren't the only marine predators to prowl the chilly waters of the great southern ocean. And all this activity does not go unnoticed. A nightmare of the deep approaches. Great white sharks can detect the scent of prey species from great distances. For this 15-foot long monster, the sea lion hunting ground is a smorgasbord. Busy with their own hunt, the adult sea lions are oblivious to the approaching threat. And the great white seizes the opportunity to target one of the pups. Weighing around 1 ton, it breaches the water's surface at over 30 miles an hour. Returning to the beach, the adult sea lions have one less mouth to feed. Even the most attentive of parents have little hope of defending against such an overwhelming force of nature. A veritable powerhouse, the great white shark terrorises the Australian coastline with brutish strength and fierce jaws. But Aussie killers come in all shapes and sizes. And to survive in this bloodbath, even the most delicate of Mother Nature's creatures have come to rely on lethal biological weapons. Far from the frigid waters of the Great Southern Ocean, the warm seas of Australia's tropical north appear to be a swimmer's paradise. But looks can be deceiving. Every year from November to April, blooms of jellyfish lay siege to Australia's northern coastline. While some are harmless, others are amongst the deadliest creatures known to man. The venom of the tiny irukandji jellyfish is 100 times more potent than a cobra's, and 1,000 times deadlier than that of a tarantula. But irukandji aren't considered to be the most dangerous marine stingers in these waters. That title belongs to the box jellyfish, one of Australia's most notorious killers. Over the last 130 years, these aquatic assassins have claimed the lives of more than 70 people. The rapid onset of box jellyfish envenomation can lead to cardiovascular collapse and death in a matter of minutes. It's a terrifyingly efficient way to subdue prey, which is typically small fish. Stinging cells contained within the 10-foot-long tentacles inject venom upon contact, bringing about a quick death. The extreme nature of the jellyfish's chemical weapon helps to protect its delicate tentacles from being damaged by a struggling victim. Although not as ferocious as the great white shark, these toxic terrors have few natural predators. Present in vast numbers, jellyfish blooms can stretch as far as the eye can see. But sometimes it's the things that we can't see that pose the greatest threat. Hiding on the sea floor is a clandestine predator with a deadly reputation: the reef stonefish. Spanning over 1,250 square miles, Australia's Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on the planet. But amongst this beauty, unseen terrors lie in wait. Shunning the limelight, a reef stonefish conceals itself on the sea floor. A master of disguise, it's easy to see how this predator got its name. Its mottled colours blend in with the reef setting. It will even tolerate algae growing on its skin to further aid concealment. The stonefish is an awkward swimmer, but it's patient, a required trait for an ambush predator. By burying itself in the sandy seabed, it becomes almost invisible. Even its large bulbous eyes are indistinguishable from its surroundings. This nocturnal predator preys on crustaceans, small fish, and cephalopods that stray too close. The slightest movement would betray its presence. Surprise is everything. The stonefish's strike is explosive. Its wide gape rapidly envelops unwary prey, which is swallowed whole. Its use of surprise attack makes it a formidable predator. But the stonefish is most renowned for its deadly defense. It's the most venomous fish in the world. Concealed within its dorsal fin are 13 needle-like spines. Fed by venom glands, these spines form a lethal defensive array. A toxin unique to stonefish, known as verruca toxin, attacks the nervous and circulatory systems and can prove fatal to would-be predators. In humans, stonefish envenomation can result in severe pain and life-threatening restrictions to blood flow and breathing. Hunters beware. More often than not, these silent assassins will have the last laugh. The reef stonefish has made an art form of concealment. Lurking within the shallows is another marine assailant, one that employs a more proactive strategy. It advertises its message in neon blue. Touch me and you die. Roughly the size of a baseball, the soft-bodied blue-lined octopus looks deceptively vulnerable. And with a relatively short lifespan of just 7 months, the species depends upon some rather extreme survival strategies. This sea snake is prowling for food. The octopus has a choice to make: hide or stand and fight. It opts to hide. Like most cephalopods, the blue-lined octopus is a master of disguise. Sophisticated skin tissues allow it to rapidly change not only its colours, but also the texture of its skin to better blend in with its surroundings. The sea snake continues its search for a meal. But some predators are armed with more refined senses. The hammerhead shark possesses an array of electroreceptors that can detect even the best hidden of prey on the seafloor. Confronted with the threat, the blue-lined octopus decides to change tactics. It sends a vivid message. Iridescent blue markings pulsate across its body, warning the predator that it's armed and dangerous. Its deadly bite is 10,000 times more toxic than cyanide. In humans, envenomation can cause respiratory failure, leading to cardiac arrest and eventually death in as little as a few minutes. In nature, such threat displays are generally heeded, and the hammerhead continues on its way. On a smaller scale, the blue-lined octopus is also a predator. It scours the ocean floor, searching for small fish and crustaceans. As a soft-bodied cephalopod, it's vulnerable to counterattack, and this crab's pincers could inflict grievous bodily harm, albeit in self-defense. A surprise attack presents the best chance of success. The octopus's dexterous tentacles restrain the crab's menacing claws, while its sharp beak easily penetrates the crab's exoskeleton, delivering its toxic bite. The crab quickly succumbs to a lethal combination of toxins contained within the octopus's venom. There's no doubt with this pint-sized perpetrator, blue means back off. Flashing its blues works well for the octopus, a vivid warning signal. But when danger comes close, it helps to pack a powerful punch. It's the strange and often brutal underworld of this subaquatic realm. One puny pugilist stands out from the crowd. The peacock mantis shrimp. Otherworldly in appearance, there's more to this odd creature than meets the eye. It's a formidable predator. Its bizarre appearance is the result of 80 million years of evolution. With an appendage for every occasion, the peacock mantis shrimp is the Swiss Army knife of the marine world. Five pairs of legs for feeding. 3 pairs of legs for walking. 2 pairs of antennae for reception. 10 gills for breathing. 2 eye stalks bearing an extraordinary pair of compound eyes. And even a set of windscreen wipers. But of its 34 appendages, it's those club-shaped limbs at the fore that make it a true killer. At just 6 inches, he punches well above his weight. His hunting strategy is one of brute force. Understandable when prey species include the well-armed and well-armoured, not to mention well-camouflaged. But camouflage is of little use when hunted by a peacock mantis shrimp. His eyes are amongst the most complex in the animal kingdom. While human eyes have just 3 colour photoreceptors, he has 12. With the capacity to see far beyond the human visible spectrum, very little escapes his attention. While the crab's defences are formidable, this seasoned brawler treats them with contempt. He's more than a little territorial and knows exactly who's moving through his patch. Especially those of the tasty variety. Unaware of the mantis shrimp's presence, the crab strays close. Too close. With the velocity of a .22 caliber bullet, the mantis shrimp's strike is the fastest in the animal kingdom. The assault is so fast that friction makes the surrounding water boil. The devastating punch knocks limbs off the victim and delivers a quick death. With built-in cutlery at his disposal, his home-delivered crab meat meal is ready to eat. The peacock mantis shrimp punches well above its weight. But there are far larger brawlers lurking in these waters. Prowling the coastline, one heavyweight killer devours just about anything that crosses its path. The tiger shark. The complex structures of Australia's Great Barrier Reef form the foundations of a bright and bustling metropolis. But every neighbourhood has its bully. Growing to more than 5 metres long, tiger sharks are aggressive predators. In these waters, few are safe from their insatiable appetite. Tiger sharks are responsible for a large percentage of fatal attacks upon humans. But these monsters will more often prey on marine mammals, stingrays, even other sharks. In Australia's far north, tigers have developed more refined tastes. They've become specialised hunters. Between November and April, tiger sharks gather here in large numbers, travelling from as far afield as Papua New Guinea. They're attracted by a natural phenomenon. Rain Island is the world's largest green sea turtle nesting site. But to lay their eggs, the sea turtles must make it to shore. And that's no easy feat. As they approach the beach, the sea turtles must run the shark gauntlet. Tigers prefer to launch their deadly assault from below. So the sea floor offers some protection against surprise attack. But the turtles must occasionally surface to breathe. And that puts them in mortal danger. For the sea turtles, timing is everything. This one has spotted the lurking predators and bides her time. Another chances a breath. And pays the ultimate price. Once dispatched, the tiger shark uses powerful jaws and serrated teeth to dismember its victim, shell and all. Amidst the feeding frenzy, the onlooker breaks from cover and makes a final dash for the beach. She's one of the lucky ones. Many turtles will not make landfall. Instead, falling victim to the murderous appetites of the tigers that ruthlessly prowl the neighbourhood. With such menacing monsters in the water, it helps to be able to avoid detection or have the capacity to defend oneself. One fierce fish can do both. The lionfish. The cold-blooded killers in Australia's coastal waters are armed with jaws, harpoons, and gruesome spikes. But few are as flamboyant as the lionfish. It's named for its long flowing fins that resemble a lion's mane. Beautiful, but deadly. A femme fatale. The lionfish's irregular outline helps to conceal its presence when viewed from a distance. Another piece of seaweed wafting in the current. But up close, its bright colours and bold markings serve as a vivid warning to would-be predators. Look, but don't touch. Also known as devil firefish, lionfish are armed with potent venom. Each long flowing dorsal spine is tipped with an extremely sharp point. Glands within these spines produce powerful neurotoxins. In humans, lionfish envenomation can cause extreme pain respiratory paralysis, and occasionally death. Their formidable toxins and vivid threat display have earned these fish a healthy respect amongst the reef community. They have few natural predators. Although armed and fabulous, lionfish don't use their venomous spines to hunt. They're strictly for defence. They're ambush predators, relying on camouflage to sneak up on a victim. Unaware of its presence, small reef fish make for easy targets. By rapidly sucking water through its wide gape and pumping it out the gills, the lionfish creates a vortex, dragging this hapless fish to its doom. This femme fatale literally eats its victims alive. Though only the size of a football, the lionfish sits comfortably near the top of its food chain. A marine assassin with flair. While the stealthy lionfish terrorizes inhabitants of the reef, there is another killer here that attacks the reef itself. A notorious predator that leaves death and destruction in its wake. But it too has its nemesis. Australia's Great Barrier Reef is a wonder of the natural world. Yet it's under threat. Rising sea temperatures attributed to global warming are killing off the corals that give the reef its structure. Adding to the peril is a natural-born coral killer. At around 30 inches in diameter, an individual crown of thorns starfish can devour up to 30 square feet of coral in a single year, which might not sound like much, but when present in vast numbers, the results are catastrophic. And these sea creatures produce more offspring than any other marine organism on Earth. Each female develops over 50 million eggs in a breeding season. From the age of 6 months, the diet of juvenile starfish is comprised almost entirely of coral. Its characteristic venomous spines protect it from most predators. En masse, they are a force to be reckoned with. Yet, for the reef, there is hope on the horizon. An unlikely predator. The giant triton. One of the ocean's largest sea snails. Tritons can measure over 1.5 feet from tip to tail. This giant gastropod feeds upon sea cucumbers and sea stars. The crown of thorns starfish seems to be one of its favourite foods. When hunting, the Triton uses scent trails to track its prey. But it's not the only one with an acute sense of smell. The starfish senses the approaching threat and attempts to flee. The Triton gives chase. It may appear that these creatures are going nowhere fast. But make no mistake, this is an active pursuit. A race to the death. With nowhere to hide, the starfish relies on its venomous spines as a last line of defense. But the starfish's defenses offer little deterrent to the persistent predator. Giant tritons have developed a tolerance to the starfish's toxins. And their saliva contains a paralysing agent, which brings the pursuit to an abrupt halt. Its hard-fought meal is now ready for consumption. It uses a serrated organ known as a radula to lacerate the soft tissue between the starfish's spines, then sucks the life from its paralysed victim, leaving little behind but an empty husk. But as is the nature of a sea snail, it's in no hurry. While giant tritons patiently stalk their prey across the seafloor, other marine predators move with speed and precision. The streamlined bodies of sea snakes have evolved to be fast, agile, and deadly. A toxic serpent stalks Australia's reefs. A 6-foot-long predator with a lethal bite. The olive sea snake. Unable to move on land, the olive sea snake is extensively adapted to an aquatic lifestyle. But like all snakes, it's an air-breathing reptile. It has a giant lung that runs nearly the length of its body, allowing it to stay submerged for hours at a time. As it tracks small fish and invertebrates amongst the nooks and crannies of the reef. Specialised valves in the sea snake's nostrils prevent water from entering its lungs when diving. And while its vertically flattened tail provides propulsion when on the hunt, it also serves to protect the snake from becoming the hunted. Like eyes in the back of its head, photoreceptors on top of its tail act as an early warning system to detect passing predators, giving the serpent a head start on hiding from hungry eyes. But for the prey species of this stealthy assassin, there are few places to hide. Offering a false sense of security, the confined space of this fish's refuge is easily infiltrated. The serpent strikes with the longest fangs of all sea snakes, injecting neurotoxic venom and fast-acting peptides that lead to almost instantaneous paralysis. Potentially lethal to humans, this highly toxic venom claims the fish's life within moments. While sea snakes actively hunt down their prey, there are other nefarious characters amongst Australia's marine assassins that prefer to lure unsuspecting victims to their death. In these sinister waters, deceit and deception are commonly employed as survival strategies. The dark art of camouflage, a prime example. It's frequently used to set up a kill or avoid being killed. This is one of the craftier perpetrators, the anglerfish, capable of adapting their appearance to suit their environment. These colourful con men are masters of disguise. Instead of swimming, they use their fins to slowly prowl the sea floor in search of prey, like small fish and squid. Within its bag of tricks, this anglerfish possesses a rather unusual tool. A biological lure known as an esker protrudes from its forehead. Resembling a wriggling worm, it tempts prey from the safety of cover. A cuttlefish emerges to investigate. Amongst the most intelligent of marine invertebrates, it doesn't buy into the scam. Nearby, a painted anglerfish casts its line. But just in case the lure isn't tempting enough, it also secretes a chemical attractant into the surrounding water. Its strike is faster than the blink of a human eye. A bite-sized snack. But these remarkable predators are capable of taking much larger prey. Anglerfish can expand their mouth cavities to 12 times the original size, a trait that allows them to punch well above their weight. Also reliant on camouflage, a flounder conceals itself within the sandy seabed, unaware that a hairy anglerfish is posing as a sea anemone nearby. Attracted by the disturbance in the sand, the anglerfish moves in to investigate. This big-mouthed predator is quite capable of devouring the flounder whole. Putting faith in its camouflage, the flounder holds its nerve. Fooled by the flounder's disguise, the anglerfish moves off in search of its next victim. Anglerfish are amongst the craftiest killers on Australia's reefs. Another predator here uses more insidious drugs to subdue a victim before moving in for the kill. Activity on the reef ebbs and flows with the sunlight filtering to the seabed. As the moon rises above the black waters, one of the planet's deadliest creatures embarks on its hunt. It's not as imposing as a killer shark, nor does it instill primal fear as a snake might. But it wields one of the animal kingdom's most potent chemical weapons. Its sting is a death sentence. Having kept a low profile throughout the day, this predator emerges from its sandy hiding spot. A carnivorous cone snail. Its movements are deceptively slow, but it conceals a lightning-fast pneumatic weapon, one that delivers a fatal dose of venom. Conus geographus is the most deadly of all the cone snails. Its venom is more complex than the deadliest of snake venom and has claimed the lives of more than 30 people. There is no antivenom to treat its fatal sting. The cone snail prowls the ocean floor, creeping forward with its muscular foot. Its siphon, packed with chemosensors, probes the water. With this appendage, it can sense the chemical trails of prey from considerable distances. It's picked up a scent. A venomous weaverfish. The dorsal spines of this fish are delivery mechanisms for its own mix of defensive toxins. But the cone snail is undeterred. As the sinister assassin creeps towards its mark, the faster-moving weaverfish makes no attempt to flee. It's paralysed, not by fear, but by a mixture of chemicals that the cone snail has released into the surrounding water. Fast-acting sedatives that immobilise prey. The cone snail now casts its net. Its extendable mouth begins to engulf the weaverfish. This elastic appendage doubles the snail's length and appears impervious to the weaverfish's toxic defences. With the fish trapped, the cone snail extends its proboscis and readies a kill shot. It fires a hollow tooth filled with toxins. The harpoon floods the fish with venom, instantly attacking the nervous system and shutting down nerve impulses, quickly leading to the prey's demise. The cone snail begins its slow escape from the scene of the crime, returning to its darkened lair to ingest its meal in solitude and safety. When next holidaying on an Australian beach, you should remember one thing. The crystal clear waters of this island paradise are both beautiful and deadly. Stonefish plague the shallows. Lethal octopi haunt the rock pools. And great white sharks will see you before you see them. Plying the tools of their trade, these deadly Australians are closer than you think.